Why is it that some older men with wisdom, experience, and stability end up feeling invisible or even mocked in the presence of younger women? Is it the age gap? The way he speaks? Or is it something deeper, something he unknowingly gives away? The truth is harsh but real. Many older men fall into the trap of trying too hard to be liked, to be funny, to be relatable. But what they don't realize is that the moment you start bending your masculinity for her attention, she stops seeing you as a man worth respecting. Have you ever walked away from a conversation with a younger woman and felt small? Like you were trying to prove something you shouldn't have to? This video is a reflection, maybe even a hard pill to swallow. But if you're an older man who still wants to be seen with honor, grace, and quiet strength, then this might be one of the most important videos you watch. Because sometimes, doing less is the only way to earn more. Respect, love, and power. Point 1. The quiet trap. Older men fall into without realizing. Have you ever found yourself sitting across from a much younger woman, maybe at a cafe, maybe in your living room, and suddenly felt this strange pressure in the air? Not from her, but from you. You're calm at first, confident. But as the minutes pass, something subtle creeps in, a need to be funny, to seem cooler, sharper, more alive than your age might suggest. So you drop a light joke. Maybe you tease her in a playful way. She smiles, but it's not the kind of smile you hoped for. It feels polite, maybe even slightly amused, but not truly drawn in. Have you ever felt that? That quiet shift in energy where you're no longer leading the moment, but chasing it? That's the trap. The one most older men fall into without even knowing. It doesn't happen with bad intentions. It happens because somewhere deep inside, there's a fear. What if she sees me as old? Outdated? Irrelevant? So you overcompensate. You try to match her world, her speed, her jokes, not realizing that in doing so, you're quietly giving up the one thing that made you stand out in the first place, your grounded, masculine presence. Have you ever tried to fit in with someone younger, only to walk away feeling smaller? Not because they did anything wrong, but because you dimmed your light just to match theirs? A friend of mine, Mark, once told me how he started dating a woman in her mid-20s. At first, she was drawn to his maturity, his calmness, his sense of direction in life. But as time went on, he started changing little things, his wardrobe, his music taste, even the way he spoke, just to seem more with it. She liked me better before, she finally told him. Before you started trying to be like me. That one sentence shattered him. Can you imagine hearing that? That the very thing you thought would draw her closer actually pushed her away? This is the quiet trap. Not a dramatic fall, but a slow erosion of self-respect. Not a loud mistake, but a whisper of insecurity that shows itself in how you act, how you speak, and how you chase her laughter instead of commanding her attention. So I ask you, have you ever reshaped yourself to fit into someone else's world? Do you remember how that felt? Did you feel stronger or smaller, more admired or more anxious? You see, women, especially younger ones, don't need you to be them. They need you to be you, fully, unapologetically, not performing, not pretending, because the moment you try to win her over by shedding the very skin of your age, your dignity, your calm masculinity, is the moment she stops seeing you as the man she could respect or love. So ask yourself this: are you showing up as the man you are, or the man you think she wants? Because the answer might quietly determine everything. Point 2. Why trying to impress her often backfires. Have you ever caught yourself trying just a little too hard? Maybe it was the way you laughed at her joke even though it wasn't that funny, or the way you subtly dropped your accomplishments into the conversation. Your car, your career, your travels, hoping she'd take notice. But somewhere in the middle of that moment, did you ever feel it? That awkward silence, that faint shift in her eyes. Not rejection exactly, but something even more confusing, disinterest. It's strange, isn't it? You gave your best, you were generous, thoughtful, even charming. But somehow it didn't land. Why does that happen? Let me tell you a story. A man I once knew, Michael, was 47. Divorced, confident, and financially successful. He met a vibrant 26-year-old woman who was drawn to his maturity. During their first few meetups, he spoke with calm assurance, and she loved his presence. But as he started falling for her, something shifted. He began doing more, booking expensive dinners, over-explaining his past achievements, sending long, poetic messages late at night, not out of arrogance, but from a subtle fear. If I don't impress her constantly, I'll lose her. Can you relate to that? That quiet, gnawing pressure to earn her attention? But here's the thing. The moment you begin trying to impress her is the moment she stops feeling safe with you. Why? Because your energy changes. You're no longer leading. You're no longer rooted. You're performing. And when a man performs, it sends an unspoken message. I'm not enough as I am. Have you ever done something for a woman? Not because it came naturally, but because you hoped it would make her like you more? And afterward, did you feel proud or uncertain? You see, impressing someone from a place of insecurity is like shouting into a quiet room. It breaks the peace. It breaks the connection. It turns something real into something rehearsed. The irony is, younger women are often more drawn to the quiet confidence of a man who doesn't need to prove anything. Have you ever met someone who made you feel seen just by being fully present? That's what she's looking for. Not the flash, not the show. Just realness, grounded, unshaken. Because the truth is, trying to impress her too much doesn't make her respect you more. It makes her question why you're trying so hard in the first place. So ask yourself this: are you trying to impress her? Or trying to convince yourself you're worthy of her attention? Because when you stop performing and start being, she won't just look at you. She'll feel you, and in that stillness is where true attraction begins. Point 3. The emotional cost of acting younger than you are. Have you ever stood in front of the mirror and asked yourself, what am I trying to prove? Maybe it's the way you changed your wardrobe, swapping timeless pieces for trendy outfits that never quite felt like you. Maybe it was downloading that new app, speaking in slang that didn't come naturally, or pretending to be unfazed by a culture that doesn't speak to your soul. It doesn't happen all at once. It's subtle. One day you're being yourself, comfortable, centered, aware of your worth. The next you're trimming parts of yourself to fit into someone else's mold, especially when that someone is younger, full of energy, and seemingly unimpressed by the wisdom of years. But here's the part that stings the most. The more you act younger than you are, the more you betray the very essence that once made you powerful. Can you feel that? I remember a man, Daniel Icahn, who fell for a woman in her late 20s. She admired his calm demeanor, his discipline, the way he spoke slowly and didn't rush to fill silence. But as their connection deepened, he felt pressure to keep up, to be exciting, spontaneous, unpredictable. He started joining her in things that didn't speak to him. Nights out till 2 a.m., social media antics, fast-paced conversations that drained his energy. On the surface, he was adapting, but inside, he was slowly unraveling. Have you ever felt that? That slow-burning fatigue of pretending to enjoy something that doesn't feed your spirit? That quiet voice in the back of your mind asking, what happened to me? Because here's the emotional cost no one talks about. When you act younger than you are, not because you feel it, but because you're afraid of losing her, you lose your center. And in doing so, you stop being the grounded, masculine presence she was drawn to in the first place. It's not your age that turns her away. It's the insecurity about your age. Youth isn't something to mimic. It's something to respect from a distance. A truly wise man knows his strength lies not in imitation but in authenticity. So let me ask you this. Are you showing up in your relationship with the quiet authority of a man who knows who he is? Or are you hiding behind borrowed energy, trying to match a rhythm that was never meant for you? You don't need to compete with her youth. You need to anchor her chaos with your stillness. You need to remind her, without saying a word, that real depth doesn't come from being trendy. It comes from being timeless. So don't run from your age. Own it. Because when you do, she won't wish you were younger. She'll thank you for being the man she didn't know she was missing. Point 4. How real respect is earned, not entertained. Let me ask you something real. Have you ever tried to make someone like you by being fun? You cracked jokes, told captivating stories, maybe even exaggerated a little just to get a reaction. You weren't being fake, but you weren't being entirely yourself either. You were trying to entertain her. But did it work? Did she lean in or lean away? Because here's the truth most men learn the hard way. Respect isn't earned by performance. It's earned by presence. I remember a moment vividly. An older man, Gerald in his late 50s, was dating a woman nearly half his age. He had this natural depth, the kind of stillness that drew people in. But somewhere along the way, he started thinking it wasn't enough. He became the storyteller, The guy with the witty remarks. The man always trying to keep the energy high. She laughed. Sure, she smiled. But something in her eyes changed. The awe disappeared. The trust faded. She saw him as fun, but not as strong. And that's what many men don't realize. A woman can laugh with you and still not respect you, because real respect doesn't come from how well you can hold her attention. It comes from how well you can hold your ground. Let me ask you, have you ever had someone listen to you just because you were loud or entertaining, but then met someone else who spoke less, and yet their words carried weight? What was the difference? It's this. Entertainment reaches the surface, but respect sinks deep, and when a man constantly tries to perform, he becomes replaceable, because performers are everywhere. But when a man is rooted in who he is, when he speaks with intention, moves with calm confidence, and isn't afraid of silence, that is rare. That is unforgettable. Young women especially are surrounded by men who try to impress, but very few know how to command presence just by being. So ask yourself, do you want to be liked, or do you want to be respected? Because the two often require different paths. She might like the man who's always cracking jokes, but she'll respect the man who isn't afraid to be quiet. She might like the man who entertains, but she'll trust the man who leads. And trust me, when a woman respects you, truly respects you, love has space to grow. Without respect, love becomes a game, a performance, a show. So stop trying to win her attention with antics. Win her respect by being unwavering, honest, and intentional. Because when you no longer seek to entertain, you become a man she'll never forget. Point 5. What young women secretly want from a mature man. Have you ever looked at a younger woman and wondered, what is she really looking for in a man like me? Not what she says in passing, not what she posts on social media, but deep down, what pulls her toward a man with silver in his beard and stories in his eyes? Let me tell you a story. A man named Thomas, 53, once told me about a woman he dated who was 28. She was bright, ambitious, full of energy, and from the outside it looked like an odd match. Him with his calm, measured pace, and her with her chaotic, spontaneous fire. But she was drawn to him like a magnet. Not because he dressed younger, not because he talked fast or tried to be her age, but because he didn't. He listened. He didn't rush to reply or outshine her with cleverness. He stood firm in who he was. He didn't chase. He didn't explain himself. And she told him one night, almost whispering, "You make me feel safe." Can you imagine that? That underneath all the fun, flirtation, and youthful games, what she really wanted was safety. Not physical protection necessarily, but emotional stability. She wanted someone who wouldn't fold under pressure, someone who didn't need her approval to feel valuable, a man who could be still in the storm. Young women live in a world of noise, distractions, performances, masks. What they secretly crave is something real, a man who knows who he is, who doesn't compete, who doesn't chase trends or validation, someone who can hold space for her emotions, her confusion, her beauty, and her chaos without losing his center. So I ask you, when you're around younger women, are you trying to keep up? Or are you showing up as the mountain in the midst of their whirlwind? Have you ever been in a conversation where you stopped trying to impress and just listened? Fully present? Did you notice how their guard dropped? How the energy shifted? You see, what young women secretly want from a mature man isn't glamour. It's depth. It's emotional safety. It's grounded leadership. Not the kind that dominates, but the kind that guides silently. They want to feel that if the world falls apart, you won't. So no, you don't need to act younger. You don't need to entertain her every second. You need to be the anchor in her storm. Because while she may smile at the boys who make her laugh, she'll fall in love with the man who makes her feel safe. And more than that, she'll respect him. Quietly, deeply, completely. You know, at the heart of it all, this wasn't really a video about age or attraction. It was a reminder. A quiet nudge to all the men out there who've ever questioned their worth, tried too hard to be someone they're not, or felt lost in the noise of modern dating. The truth is, you don't need to be louder, younger, or more entertaining to earn a woman's respect. You just need to be real, rooted, present. Because when you embrace who you truly are, your calm, your confidence, your quiet strength, you stop chasing validation and start attracting what's meant for you. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. Truly, I don't take it for granted. If something in this video made you pause, reflect, or even feel a little seen, then I'm grateful. That's why I create these, and if you felt that connection, I'd love for you to join this growing community by subscribing, maybe giving the video a like. It helps more than you know. And hey, the comment section is yours. Have you ever caught yourself trying to impress someone instead of just being you? What did that teach you? I read every word. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.